All right, top 10 wide receivers list. And to be honest, this is always a difficult list to do because there's just so many good wide receivers out there. So I'll just start off by listing off some of the wide receivers that didn't make the list. T. Higgins, Jerry Jeudy, who had a great year last year, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, both got injured last year, but were both great outside of the injuries. Devontae Adams, Zay Flowers, Ladd McConkey, all fantastic players. I just couldn't find a spot for them on the list. There is a lot of good wide receivers, so let's get into the list. Number 10, I am going Puka Nacua, who, you look at the overall numbers. He had 990 yards, but he was injured, missed around, 6 games or so. So he was actually third when it comes to yards per game in the league. Due to the injury, I did dock him a little bit. Not to mention he got thrown out of one of those games as well. So he probably would be second in yards per game had that not happened. So honestly, now that I'm saying all that stuff, I probably should have him higher. Again, in a very good situation with the Rams, but this is just how difficult it is to crack a top 10 wide receivers list because he's still just at number 10, and he's, again, fantastic. Number 9, I am going Drake London, who was fourth in receiving yards last year. So again, this is a tough list to crack, but ultimately, I think Drake London's a really underrated player. I mean, the way that he can go up and just create opportunities for himself, right? He doesn't need to be in a schemed up play at all. It can just be, hey, go on the outside one-on-one and just win, and he can do that. He can run, plays that are the way the offense designed it if he needs to, but ultimately that's not really the best way to utilize him, and that's not how they utilize him. They can put him in challenging situations and he can thrive in it. So yeah, big Drake London fan. He's here at number 9. Number 8, I am going Malik Neighbors, who you think about for Neighbors, just how impressive of a season he had last year. Again, if you want to look at box score stats, 1,200 yards last year in only 15 games. Not to mention the difficult situation he was put in. I mean, they got rid of their starting quarterback midway through the year. Like, that was the situation Neighbors was playing in last year, and he still was able to put up incredible numbers and put up some incredible tape as well. There were stretches last year where they just said, let's just throw it to Malik Neighbors over and over again, and it was like the right strategy. It was like what was helping them out winning games, which, hey, maybe that's part of why he had the numbers he had, but still, how impressive is it that was, as a rookie, he meant that much to an offense. It's pretty remarkable. So he's at number 8. And number 7, I am going with the guy who was third in receiving yards last year with 1,282. Also had double-digit touchdowns at 10. And again, it's not just the impressive plays, the downfield stuff, the speed, the athleticism that he has. It's also the situation that he was thrown in, similar to Malik Neighbors. Brian Thomas was in an awful situation. He had Mac Jones throwing to him for a decent chunk of the year. Like, it just was not very good. And the fact that he was still able to have the year he had, he's a top 10 receiver. And honestly, him and Neighbors probably would be higher if it wasn't just the fact that I've only seen them do this for 1 year. Number 6 is definitely one of my more hot takes, I think, going with Nico Collins, who was only 22nd in receiving yards last year. I am still putting him at 6th. Again, another player here who was injured, missed a good chunk of time. In fact, if you look at yards per game, he was 4th in yards per game behind, 2 guys we haven't mentioned yet, and then also Nacua, and then it's just him at 4. Again, similar to Drake London, it just feels like the degree of difficulty routes he has to pull off for Houston, and especially when they can't pass block, so he doesn't have the threat of go routes, basically. Like, he has to, corners don't have to respect the deep game, not because he can't win. When there is time, he wins down the field, but more so because, they know that the blocking's only going to go for so long, so they can be a bit more aggressive against him, but it doesn't matter. He's still just so consistently good at finding ways to get open, and again, some of these guys, you can look at the numbers and say, well, what about this? But some guys you just have to watch the tape, although Collins has the numbers and the tape, which is why he's here at 6. Number 5, I am going to go Amon-Ra St. Brown here, a player who, again, the knock on him is, well, he's a slot receiver. But, who cares? I mean, he wins consistently. And if you win consistently, why do I care if you're a slot or an outside guy? He was 5th in receiving yards last year. And again, we've seen him do this year in and year out. He means so much to that team. He fits so well in that system. yeah, I think he's a great player. And while I get some people might argue he should be, higher or lower, I think some people will argue he's lower. Again, if you watch the Lions and you pay close attention, like, he is in many ways the nucleus of that offense, and he's just so good. Number 4, I'm going CeeDee Lamb, a player who, again, some people might say, oh, classic, giving a Cowboys player extra attention. I don't know. Again, bad situation, still finished 8th in receiving yards last year. We've seen him lead the league in receiving yards in previous years, or at least in a previous year. So he is someone who is, correction, I believe he was second last year. He was 50 yards behind Tyreek Hill. So, okay, he's had a 1,700-yard season, though, and that was only last season, and then still has a very good year in a tumultuous situation. Again, watching the tape, there are just times when teams try to leave him one-on-one, and it just, doesn't even come close to working. So, when you factor that in, I don't know. I just think he's really good. He wins the kind of routes I would want to see him win, so that you kind of need a number 1 receiver to win, and because of that, I have him at 4. Number 3, I'm going A.J. Brown. I will say it's kind of weird, this situation where I feel like A.J. Brown is great, don't get me wrong, but I do feel there's a jump between 2 and 3. So sorry to start it off by maybe being too disrespectful of A.J. Brown. Another player who missed some time. That's kind of the biggest knock on him, is he does tend to miss time. Still was 5th in receiving yards per game last year. And again, the tape thing and just watching him play is kind of what I look at, where how often in those big spots, 4th down and 5, well, let's just throw to A.J. Brown down the field. We know he's going to win, and he would. When you have kind of an unstoppable play like that, that's in large part why the Eagles were so unstoppable last year. You had to put so much resources into trying and stop Saquon Barkley, and then when you did, well, now A.J. Brown's one-on-one, and you can't leave him one-on-one. So when you factor those two things in, yeah, it's remarkable. Number 2 on this list, I almost just instinctively said number 1 because he was so good. Jamar Chase. To me, there are clear 1 and 2 in the NFL right now. Jamar Chase is the guy who I decided to go with at 2, despite the fact that he led the league in everything last year, won the Triple Crown, receptions, yards, and touchdowns. He was amazing. Again, the whole offense for the Bengals was amazing, but the amount of plays where he would just, Burrow would throw it to him for 30 yards, and I felt like he just found a way to get into the end zone. Again, he's another guy you just can't leave one-on-one. Teams don't even try because he's so good, and then he's had to kind of adjust his game, and he's done a tremendous job at doing that. You could definitely talk me into him being number 1. I think he was the better receiver last year, but I'm still going to go with a guy who I think has just been better over the course of his career, although it is very close. I am going to go with Justin Jefferson, who I think maybe, with all due respect to Sam Darnold, does not have Joe Burrow throwing to him. And I think that's ultimately my biggest difference. Although, you could argue, hey, well, he has a better offensive line that blocks for the quarterback. There's other things. I agree. So, again, I'm not really wanting to argue against Jefferson or Jamar Chase. I think they're both tremendous players. I think they can both do just about anything. They can both run any route. They can both play any position at the wide receiver position. So, because of that, I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson. I just feel like he's been a little bit better over the course of his career, but Chase has been chasing him, has been catching up. We can say that. So ultimately, those are my top 10 wide receivers. Let me know in the comments below. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? What's your list? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.